Have you ever been told that you're just too quiet? Or maybe you felt that pressure to speak up more, in meetings or just when you're hanging out with friends. Well, what if that silence isn't a weakness? What if it's not some problem you need to fix? What if it's actually a rare kind of intelligence? Okay, let's really get into this.
Just let that sink in for a second. It perfectly captures this huge shift in perspective. So many social situations, they feel like a competition, right? A race to see who can get their point across first. But this suggests there's a whole other game being played. One that's way more subtle and, honestly, probably way more powerful.
For a long time, the go-to label for being quiet has been social anxiety, or, just being shy. It's an easy box to put people in. But what we're looking at here completely challenges that idea. It asks us to think about a pretty fascinating alternative. What if your quiet nature isn't a bug, but it's actually a feature? A kind of superpower you just haven't learned to name yet.
So to really get our heads around this, we first need to understand that there are basically two different ways people process social information. You've got the talkers on one side, and on the other you have the observers. They're living in the same world, but believe me, they are seeing it in completely different ways.
This really lays it out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got what we can call low cognitive awareness. This is someone who's busy talking, reacting, just engaging on the surface level. And that's fine. They're part of the conversation, but they might be missing what's going on underneath. But then on the right, we have the observer's mind. And this is not passive at all. It's an incredibly active mental state. You're not just hearing words. You're studying patterns, you're decoding body language, and you're building this really detailed map of the entire situation.
So what is it? What's the engine behind this quiet strength? Let's pull back the curtain a little and look at the actual psychology that makes the observer's mind so incredibly effective. Believe it or not, there's a scientific term for this. It's called social vigilance. And it's not just about being quiet. It's a heightened state of awareness where your brain is constantly scanning and analyzing all this social data. Body language, the tone of someone's voice, the dynamics of the group, things that most people are just too busy talking to ever even notice.
And this is the absolute key. When your mind isn't tangled up trying to figure out the next clever thing to say, it becomes free. It's free to actually see, to process, and to understand what is really going on beneath the surface of the conversation.
Okay, so what does this social vigilance actually look like in the real world? Well, we've got 7 distinct signs of an observer. As I go through these, just ask yourself, does this sound like me?
Let's break down these 7 key signs.
Okay, here are all 7 at once. Do any of these hit home? Maybe you're always studying body language, or you notice the tiny details others miss. Maybe you can just read the room's energy. Or perhaps you're known as a great listener, someone who always thinks before they speak. You see patterns in how people act, and you find that people come to you for advice. Now, let's zoom in on 3 of the most powerful signs from this list.
Let's kick things off with a big one. You see patterns in behavior. This isn't just about what's happening right now, it's about connecting the dots over time. You don't just see a single action in isolation. You remember how someone reacted to something similar months ago, and you connect it to how they're acting today. And that gives you this incredible insight into their real motivations. Sometimes, even motivations they don't see themselves.
All right, next up is this almost intuitive ability to read a room's energy. You know what I'm talking about, right? While everyone else is focused on the words being said, you're picking up on the emotional vibe. You can feel that unspoken tension, or the hidden excitement, or that subtle shift in the mood that everyone else is completely oblivious to. You're not just listening to the conversation, you're reading the entire room. And finally, let's look at sign number 7. People seek your advice. Honestly, this right here is the natural result of all that quiet work. People come to you because they know, deep down, that they're not going to get some superficial knee-jerk reaction. They trust you. They trust that you've been watching and listening and really processing. Your insights are so valuable because they're built on this solid foundation of careful observation. They're balanced, they're thoughtful, and they're usually spot on.
So, when we start to tie all these threads together, the social vigilance, the pattern recognition, the deep listening, we get to a really profound conclusion about what it means to be the quiet person in the room.
Let me just say this as clearly as I can. The tendency to observe more than you speak, it is not a flaw. It's not a social defect, and it is absolutely not something that needs to be fixed.
It's a rare psychological advantage. Think about it. In a world that is just getting louder and more distracted by the second, the ability to be still, to truly see, and to deeply understand, that's a genuine superpower. It allows you to navigate the world with a clarity and a wisdom that other people just miss.
So, the next time you find yourself quiet in a crowd, don't look at it as a failure to join in. See it for what it is, an opportunity to observe. The real question this all leaves us with is this. Now that you can name your power, what are you going to notice?